Hey there, Schwermetallisch here. Last Tuesday, I did an interview with the band CULLODEN. They are based in the UK, and yo, those lads had a release in 2018. There's no new stuff at the moment, but they are working on it. Of course, every band on the planet is working on new stuff due to this fucking pandemic. So yeah, tune in, check us out, check out the interview, and if you like, subscribe, like, comment, and share my stuff. Most important of all, have fun and stay safe out there. Thank you. Guys, Schwermetallisch here from Germany. I'm speaking to Cullen of UK.
Hello there.
Hi.
And the first thing I noticed is that Stefan Rosic sounds awfully like a German name.
It's Slavic, it's Serbian.
It's Stefan and not Stefan.
No, it's Stefan.
Yeah, because in Germany we tend to pronounce things a bit harder.
Yes.
It's like Stefan. Stefan Rosic. Yeah, and you don't realize the harshness of your own language until someone mentions it, and you realize, okay, English is pretty soft.
It can be.
Yes.
It can be, yeah, but there's a few words only with a hard T at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Besides cunt.
Yeah, I was going to say most of them are usually bad words.
Oh, that is very, very true, yes.
That's a bit more of an Australian word.
No, we see it up here all the time.
I say it regularly myself, so.
You can say what you want on tape. it's okay.
Don't worry about it. If honestly, I can be pretty bad. I can be. Usually I try to be good, but like quite a lot of the time, usually like I end up swearing like a sailor quite often, and not especially when it's regarding waiting for the metro after practice. Try to get home and after like the band practice and all that, and the metro just never turns up. Tying away on metro is an absolute fucking disgrace.
Yeah, with me it's like when I'm relearning at the moment for a new job for a clerk, and
Yeah.
I'm very bad at everything with numbers, and sometimes when I try to calculate shit, I really tend to get really angry.
I sympathise up with that entirely and all that. I have something called dyspraxia, which is it's kind of like a coordination and learning difficulty. So obviously, you know, for quite a lot of the years in my life and all that, I struggled with things like numbers as well, but not just numbers, but various other things. I've got a worse sense of balance than someone who's had 5 pints.
That's true, yes.
Yeah, I kind of balance on 1 foot. It's just impossible.
Yeah, I know that. I feel it. It's like if I try to, I don't know the word in crouch. Yeah. If I'm crouching.
Yes.
It's like doing things on my knees. It's like okay. So
you find ways to get around it. You find ways to get around it, and I'm sure you'll be able to do your calculations nearby soon.
Yeah, it gets better. It really gets better. But for years I thought I was really dumb.
Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it at all.
So, yeah, this is an interview, or we will make an interview out of this conversation. So we will start with a question now. When and why did you guys start doing heavy metal?
It started in about 2010. Me and Graham had met in college. About like I think it was about was it 2008, Graham? That I started the first.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
About 2008 that I first met you. And obviously, as me and Graham got talking, like as I got to know him throughout the likes of the course, I said, "Oh, we should totally do a band together." He was one of the only people that I talked to on the course. He was a guitarist, I was a bass player. and eventually we did form our first band. We've always liked heavy metal. We've always wanted to play heavy metal, but finding other people on that course was quite difficult. So we quite had to do a lot of compromises. And
People tried, to be fair.
They
Give
did
credit
try.
where credit's due. They did try to do it.
Just to be friendly, of course, or they were just kind of overdue by the people who ran the course.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun times such as playing like the Breaking the Law, other priest covers, Ace of Spades, For Whom the Bell Tolls, and I Want Out. We did them at a couple of like college clubs that everyone else is doing, like the Kings of Leon and stuff. It's like we're just sitting there just like playing 80s heavy metal.
Oh yeah, my brother was a fan of Kings of Leon a while ago, and oh no.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that the course kind of what tries to indoctrinate into you is to like the Beatles, and the people who ran the course like them a lot. Some people just like, they'll dug into it, we'll just play the Beatles and all that, and we're just sitting there going, oh, it's not for us. We just want to play Iron Maiden.
Yeah. We got wrong for not liking the Beatles.
We just didn't like them, we just wanted to do what we did. So eventually we made our own band and all this, just to do these things outside of college. Because, you're only in there for like 2-3 years. And, they think of like, oh, well, what after then? What do we do after that? So eventually we did make a band. But we're kind of like, we started out just jamming casually and all that with someone that I met online. He comes from a town called Dashington, which is like 14 miles north of here, if not a little bit more actually. But the thing about the northeast of England is a lot of the cities and towns are not very badly interconnected outside of Tyne and Wear. If you're not within the region of Tyne and Wear, sorry, Stefan. It's terrible. The connections are terrible. But also, why I said that is because Tyne and Wear used to be part of County Durham. It's all just Ashington's like in the very heartland of Northumberland. He was a very hardy, strange bloke, this drummer.
He was really funny though.
No, he was funny. He was a weirdo.
He's a fantastic drummer. Yeah, Harry. He was a fantastic drummer. He's just a great lad all around, really.
He was just weird.
That's why he worked, I think.
The only thing I know about Northumberland is that the Vikings landed there in the first episode of the TV show, and they slaughtered the monks.
Yeah,
it was like...
we actually did a song on that, which is Lindisfarne. Lindisfarne is the name of the monastery on Holy Island where they actually landed on, and actually did a little bit of like a very friendly cutting up of like a couple of the monks and all that. Like we're just a little bit of morning prayers. Oh no, we're Vikings, good to come here. As you do, happens every day in the northeast of England.
Yeah, my problem with that episode of the TV show was, that guy who's one of the main actors just raped a woman, and that guy just killed unarmed people, like 15. And how should I sympathize with them? Why and how and
Oh, that's just history for you in general. It's just the way there are no real heroes, there are no real villains. It's not like an episode of like Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, but it's no. I have my problems with this. That's just not. No one's a nice guy in this TV show, so it's like.
Yeah. Well, that's essentially it. Quite a lot of historical figures were like that, and quite a lot of events were like that. The actual siege of Lindisfarne itself, Lindisfarne Monastery, was pretty brutal. The monks themselves wrote of it as some sort of thing that it was like doomsday, the end of the world, like divine retribution for something or some reason.
Yeah, they thought that the end days are near, and for most of them that was very true. Because they died.
Yeah. Well, it was pretty much the start of the whole Viking Age in the north of England. There were quite a lot of raids. There were quite a lot of invasions, stuff like it happened from that time onwards, right up until it lasted for about 300 years.
Yeah.
It
Slaughtering and
only ended.
pillaging.
Yeah, they got rid of one lot of slaughterers and pillagers. Then another set of slaughterers and pillagers came. That's English History 101. Then they turned into slaughterers.
So aside from pillaging and Vikings and setting things on fire, what are your main influences as a band?
I'd say we're kind of musical prostitutes, really. I'll get to the Hillers in a bit. Graham likes power metal. I'll leave that to him, but I'm definitely sort of into classic heavy metal from the 70s and 80s. I like a ton of prog, some jazz, and a lot of pop music as well. Stuff with really good hooks, and Yngwie, lots of Yngwie Malmsteen. But that's my bit anyway.
Graham?
Well, yeah, I like power metal, but that's not all I like.
Yeah.
I like all sorts, really. My main band is Queen, greatest band ever.
Wow, I never quite heard of that one. Oh, Graham.
I mean, yeah,
Oh, he tells me
just the usual. Oh, yeah.
Queen are fucking incredible. So
As long as I can remember, I've always been into Queen.
good
Yeah.
man.
But yeah, pretty much the same Stefan, really.
But
A bit less Yngwie or more.
Graham's sort of our token power metal guy in the same way that I'm our token sort of hair metal guy, because I love a lot of
Yeah, pretty much.
a lot of that big LA hair metal stuff. Quiet Riot, Motley Crue, Rat. In fact, it's Glamuary, so lots of Rat and Poison getting played this month, and all sorts of fluffy stuff like that.
Well, you're not living if you're not rocking with Doc.
Yeah, Dokken too. The thing about all those bands is that they had absolutely incredible guitar players. So for me, they're mandatory listening just for that.
Absolutely.
And the songs are all right too. So
Yeah, I like a bit of a combination of things. I like a couple of glam bands. I do like a bit of a Duck and a bit of Wasp. I like Rat as well. Cinderella. I love the power metal. I love a lot of the German stuff like Gravedigger, Gamma Ray, Halloween, Blind Guardian, Avantasia. I love that stuff to bits. But the bigger stuff that usually influences me is not just the 80s heavy metal. I love me Motorhead, Venom, Celtic Frost, just that sort of dark, gritty, heavy sort of stuff. It's not quite black metal, it's not quite thrash, not quite death. It's something within its own sort of thing. I love that sound. I also love a bit of Sabbath, Skyclad. I love anything that Martin Valkyrie does. I like Primordial, a bit of Malmorda. I like the folk stuff quite a lot. Folk music as well as folk metal. I grew up with video game music as well. Anything that was composed by the absolute master Nobuo Uematsu. He did the music for the Final Fantasy games, and I remember just as soon as I was old enough to actually get the whole. Well, I was about 8 when Final Fantasy 7 first came out, and I was gripped by the music straight away. Final Fantasy 8 as well. Just those games are pretty much my entire childhood, and the music stays with me to this day.
The first thing I think about when you say music of Final Fantasy is like Sephiroth.
I have one winged angel.
Yeah, that's probably the most popular.
It is. You've got the whole proggy sort of stuff from 8 though.
And it was like, I don't know how long I fought against this cock of a boss. Hours and days. It was like one of those battles in Lord of the Rings.
Emerald weapon.
When I finally left my room, it was like I was scattered and long hair and beard and blood and arrows in my back and
Yeah,
like that.
I remember this.
So
Yes.
And of course, Queen is the greatest rock band ever.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But I have to say, to one thing you mentioned, Andrew, if I have to choose between the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, it's always the Beatles, because I hate Mick Jagger. I hate him. I fucking hate him.
I do.
Yeah.
I don't particularly think much of the personality issues in the Stones, but I do like Charlie Watts. I'm a big fan of him, and Exile on Main Street was a pretty cracking record. That sort of what's his face who joined the band, the guitarist. I forgot his name now. He kind of tightened them up, worked out the kinks in their musical delivery. So I appreciated that run of records in the early '70s that they did. Oh God, I'm trying to remember his name now. Too tired. Oh well.
The problem with the Stones for me was always I'm not into punk at all, because I don't like it if music sounds sloppy, and the Stones always sounded kind of sloppy to me.
That's why I like those records from the early '70s, because they were tighter and more professional. They weren't kind of all over the place like their work before. But it did come to an end. Their guitarist left because there was too much drugs and too much fucking around happening in that band. So he quit. And yeah, he hated Mick Jagger too. I think a lot. Yeah.
Brother from another mother.
There's a story about the Rolling Stones which is actually quite relevant to this region of the country in England, especially in South Shields. I was taught this in the pubs all the time when I used to drink with my late granddad. There's a guy called Carlo Little. He's a drummer who turned down joining the Rolling Stones, and apparently he's famous for teaching a little bit to the likes of Keith Moon as well. He's a bit of like a local legend that a lot of the old guys at the pubs like to tell you quite often. I didn't believe it at first.
Saying no to the Rolling Stones is that's boss level.
I think this is at the very, very, very start of the career, where a lot of people just didn't believe that they would actually go very far at all.
It was Mick Taylor. That's right, the guitarist. I just looked it up.
Yeah,
I thought so. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
How do you react as a band with that on that level if you ask one guitarist if he wants to play with you or for you and he says no? What is the reaction to that?
I'd say
cry. Go into a corner and cry. Nah. That stuff happens quite often and such and all that. We've had cases of people just randomly just like packing up and just saying, you know what, I can't do this anymore, or just like disappearing on the gig day.
Oh, Jack. We love Jack. Jack was our previous guitarist before Graham came back to the band after all those years, because Graham was there in the beginning, and then he left. The band had quite a few lineup changes, and Jack suddenly quit in January 2020, and we were kind of left in the lurch for a while, and then out of the blue we managed to get Graham back into the band after all these years, so that worked out very well.
We've had a couple of people that we've asked if they'd be interested in joining them whenever we've had a vacancy in the band, and whether it comes to guitarists or drummers. We've even tried back in the day of trying to get certain singers to join the band. Before I just decided to just say, you know what, I'm going to do vocals from here on out. I'll stick to it. Yeah, you just get it quite often, and you just got to take these things in stride. You can't get too down about it, and you just got to say, all right, it's happened. Next.
Yeah, that's what rock and roll is about. Show must go on.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
But it's pretty cool to get a member back who left a while ago, and I know many bands who couldn't manage to get members back into the roster after they left. Most leave with a good reason or for a good reason, and sometimes people hate each other after that. So
Yeah.
it's good to have you back.
Yeah.
It seems you don't hate each other. That's good.
There was none of that bad blood or anything.
Yeah, it's none of that.
The band just kind of ground to a halt, several years ago, many years ago, and that's when Graham kind of left, from what I recall.
Yeah.
We've always been friends and all that, so yeah.
That's great. Yeah, sometimes just life just happens to come in between, and you get, I don't know, you get kids or another job far away, and opportunities arise and stuff like that. That's even better than starting to hate each other because, I don't know, shit happened in the tour bus or stuff like that.
I wish we had a tour bus, mind.
It's like, no big business in the tour bus. I told you twice. You're out of the band.
we have the tour car, and that's about it.
Yeah.
It's better than a tour bicycle.
Yeah.
Hey, a tour bicycle will be good. Keep off the lockdown weight.
Hey, before I joined, it was the tour train sometimes.
Oh yes. There was one time I had a gig down in London. I would said, you know what? I said, let's just get the train. It doesn't sound like much of a big deal if you're not from England, but the prices of trains in this country is an absolute piss take. The price to get from Newcastle down to London itself and all that can cost you the hundreds of pounds.
Okay.
It's a 3-hour journey. It's absolutely ridiculous. This is why a lot of people just prefer to get the coach, and the coach down to London is like about 6 hours or so, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, it's about it's about 110 euros equivalent for a train ride from Newcastle to London. That's only 250 miles, so.
Yeah, you've got to get 6 weeks in advance to be able to get them for quite cheap, and even then, you've got a very finite time window.
Yeah.
It was the Express, wasn't it? It was the Grand Central. That's what we got. Yeah. But on top of that, to get to Newcastle in the first place, to be able to get the train, costs money in itself. Because you've got to get the metro or you've got to get the bus, which costs at least a good couple of quid anyways. Or if you miss the bus or the metro, you've got to get a taxi, which taxis are also expensive. It's a very expensive country.
Basically, Andrew lives in South Shields, which, despite only being several miles from Newcastle, might as well be on a different planet. That's what it is, pretty much.
Transport network is about 40-50 years out of date.
Now, as you mentioned Newcastle again, it reminds me of a really great beer I once had, Newcastle Brown Ale.
Oh, Brune.
Oh, I love your bottle of Brune.
I really like that. It's quite expensive in Germany, but that's one.
It's expensive in Germany. Oh, bloody hell!
Yeah, it's about €3.50
for a pint.
No, for a bottle.
Oh, for a bottle. Yeah.
It's about three quid. Something it's 4 quid and all that, depending on where you are. If you're not in the social clubs, beer can be quite expensive.
It's cheaper in Germany than it is in London. I can tell you that.
Oh yeah. we get a can of beer for 40-50 cents. So you can really get pissed drunk for €5. If taste doesn't matter at all.
I wish I had my bottle open now. I've got a bottle of Hobgoblin down there.
For five quid you can get 10 cans. And
that's exactly it. It's one of the things that is to take into account, not whenever you're playing down in London or whether you're at an event down in London. It's a very expensive city.
I was in London a few years ago, and I visited 2 bars that played heavy metal. One bar I forgot how they were named, but it was so fucking loud in there that even my earplugs started to melt. It was like, okay, I will drink 1 beer and then I have to leave because it's louder in here than on any concert I ever visited in my fucking life.
Were you in Camden, mate?
Yeah, that maybe was the case. I don't know.
probably was Camden.
Yeah, probably would have been Camden. I mean, I usually frequent the Black Heart and places like that when I'm in London.
Yeah, and it was like I was there with 2 people, and the rest of the bar was yeah, there were no one except me, my ex-girlfriend, and yeah, the guy bringing me the beer, and I asked him if he could lower the volume because it was so fucking loud, and he was an arrogant prick. Like, no. Okay.
Sounds like London.
Yeah,
And
that
it's
does
like,
sound,
okay,
that does sound like London.
so fuck you. The only 2 guests you have left are leaving now. And
That's
then
London.
then we went to the Crowbar, and that was fucking great.
Noise.
Yeah. London's just like that in general. You kind of find it can be a very snobby, unwelcoming city. I really do not like the place at all. Yeah, it's the capital city. Yeah, it's the city of culture, but it's down south and it's shit.
To be honest, that prick of a barkeeper was the only person in whole of England that was not very, very nice. The rest of the trip, everyone was so nice everywhere. He was the only one.
Yeah, usually it's quite a surprise for people on the continent when they come here to find like how polite that the English can be. I've done a bit of tour guide work at the local Roman fort there here in South Shields a couple of times, and I've done a bit of Roman work, not Roman work, I've done a bit of tour work at the Roman fort in North Shields as well, Wallsends, and whenever I've done like tour work with some people from the continent, from Switzerland, from Germany, even from right in Eastern Europe, so she's like, well, the things were always remarking all that, it's just how polite some of the people can be here. And one of the things I think to myself when I hear that, it's like, Christ, you must be going to different places than I do. You get some right absolute bellhens.
Oh, maybe I just got lucky. I don't know.
It seems to be a tourist thing. You always get lucky whenever you're around here, because when you live here, like, if you're getting something right, absolute nutcases. It's like when I lived on the other side of South Shields, it was a fight all the time. I used to live next door to a pub.
I can tell you, it's not because of me looking like a rich guy paying you more money or something like that. I'm not looking like that. So back to questions. What are your post-COVID plans?
We are making a record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At last.
Yeah.
So 2020 was meant to be the year that we made a record and, you know, ideally toured behind it, but of course COVID came and had other ideas about that. So really we're just going to pick up where we left off. We've kind of been honing the record this whole year, doing pre-production and stuff like that. We've got all the songs written out for it. I think we're just going to end up recording everything in our repertoire and, you know, picking out what we like the best. We've got a full-length album in the works and a single release with one of the songs that's slated for the record, "Fury of the Queen," which we first unleashed in about May time 2019. So it's been well rehearsed, both, you know, in the rehearsal room and live. And we're going to record some of the tracks from our first EP as well.
Yeah.
Sort of new and improved versions, beefed up with because they were done under a completely different lineup at this point. The tunes on the EP. Andrew's the only person who was on the EP that's still in the band.
Yeah, I was let's say the Witch Pricker EP.
Yeah.
We recorded that in Southwick in Sunderland in, I think it was 2018. It was 2008, start 2018. That was with a couple of different guitarists and a different drummer. We didn't record it at a click, which caused quite a lot of problems down the road when we were recording it, so it does sound rather sloppy. A lot of the people listening to it do give it a lot of acclaim and do say they like the record. But our opinion of it and all that is just like we can and we are capable of so much better.
Mhm.
That's what we aim to do. we want to just make the EP to seem like a glorified demo, which it essentially is in our books. We still make sales of it at gigs and stuff. People do come up to us and say, "Oh, I like the EP you did. It was really, really good." And it's like, "You're fucking serious?" Shite, man, shite.
Oh, he's being a bit harsh on it. Like it's a good record with a serious attitude and a style of its own. And I think Andrew's vocals sound like absolutely nothing else that's happening, in recent memory. It's and our take on it was that we have a signature tune on the record, and we have a couple of tunes that definitely got tarted up quite a bit and deserve to see the light of day in their new and improved form. And one of them I think we're going to chuck on the single release as a B-side, just to that's also been tweaked, but we're just going to kind of see it off and say goodbye to it. It's a good tune, but we've written better ones in that vein, so yeah,
improvement is always great, but you have to start somewhere.
I do agree with that, absolutely. Before we recorded the EP, the only thing we'd ever done on the recording was back in the days, the very first lineup of Graham and the drummer from Ashton, Harry. We did it was a live recording in one shot, and we did a couple of songs. The only one that I've allowed to still be remaining on any sort of media is an original song called The Void. Now, that's very sloppy, and all it is just a glorified jam, but for us, that was the very first experience of recording as a full band. It was fun.
There's a running joke in the band about the void, and the joke is that the song will never be finished. So of course,
what?
Now you see, now we've already got a whole album filled up with songs. I mean, we've got probably 45-50 minutes of material, and we're going to cut that down a bit, I think, something a bit shorter. But the next release, which might be an EP as well, or it could be an album, I don't know, we're basically going to finish The Void and break the curse.
It's like Dark Side of the Moon, 45 minutes, The Void.
That's essentially it, yes.
To be continued. The Void Part 2. It's like the Unforgiven for Metallica.
Yeah. Then Part 3. Where's Part 4? All the Time albums by Wintersun. Where's Time 2, mate? Where's Time 2?
So my final question for today, guys, is what is your dream lineup for a tour, yourself included?
Do you mean bands?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll let these two chaps go first.
Well, we should really do it with bands that we have already gigged with and who we've made friends with. That's
a really good one.
I'd probably
Skyrider and Kane for me.
I'd want to keep it to bands that we know and love. So I would love to go out on the road with Skyrider, of course. My good friend out of Thorpe's band. They're from the Northeast. They're an incredible band. They play 80s heavy metal pretty much.
I reviewed a few things of them, yeah.
Oh yeah. They're great band, and you can see why I like them. And Seven Sisters is another one. We love Seven Sisters in this band.
Shit.
Yeah. Who else? I mean, Toledo Steel's another one. Great bunch of chaps. Great live band. I've seen them.
I've our pals from Primitai as well. If I mentioned, they are absolutely shit hot.
Yeah. This is probably a pipe dream, but I imagine Andrew would also want to go out with Skyclad.
They are absolutely. Like I said, Martin Valkyrie is pretty much one of my main idols. He's just absolutely fantastic. I've talked to people who work with him for like one-off gigs. Phil Brewis drinks at Phil Brewis, who plays in Tyson Dog. He drinks at South Shields quite often, and I meet up with him quite often. He just tells the stories of bands he's played with, and he's just sitting there like telling us the stories. as I think about Sour Shields and all, is you meet quite a lot of ex-Blitzkrieg, ex-Venom, ex-Tigers of Pantang, Fist, Mithra.
It was very incestuous, the Northern scene, with musicians always constantly being in each other's bands. So you probably one in every 5 people you meet in Shields played in a name band at some point, I guess.
Oh, no. It's how we first met Brian Ross from Blitzkrieg as well. He's just sitting there drinking at a pub in South Shields and all that. I didn't know he was Brian Ross and all that. I just thought that he was sitting there by himself. I thought I might as well go say hello. And he's like just telling us like, oh, this band's absolutely fantastic, isn't it? It was a Judas Priest tribute. That was a Judas Priest with Martin, who went on to sing for Skiltron. Yeah. So like it's South Shields, mate. It's just,
I'm trying to think of another band who would be great to play with, and I thought about it literally like 1 or 2 days ago, and now I'm trying to remember who it was. Damn it, there was someone kind of folky or kind of black metal-y. I'm not sure.
man.
But they're UK at least, so
kind of folky, kind of black metal-y. So I think. Yeah, my head's blank as well, but I would play with Skiltman for definite. I think they're absolutely fantastic. I was well into them before Martin started singing from, so when I heard my friend from South Shields is playing for one of my favourite folk metal bands, I was like going, oh shit, this is great, this. So I definitely play with them. Anyone from them. Martin would be an absolutely fantastic singer to work with. Working with a couple of lads from Midnight Force as well would be absolutely fantastic. The singer from Farsia and Sif, he's absolutely phenomenal as well.
Yeah.
It's just, the UK metal scene's just got so much talent, even if you don't go into a lot of these, big legends and classic and new British heavy metal legends and all that.
You guys need to write this down so I can check them out.
There's just so many good bands. It's just like when you listen to quite a lot of the releases on the new traditional heavy metal stuff, like a lot of it does kind of start to bleed into each other. A lot of them are starting to sound a little bit similar to one another. But when you look at the live scene, it's just absolutely fantastic. So many new bands and all that just waiting to just record their debut albums. Not just us, like we're just begging to get among them. I mean, what do you think, Skyway? Do you think they'll end up getting their debut album and all that out before us at this rate?
Have you guys checked out?
Who's this? Who we checked out?
Have you guys checked out the new Witch Hazel?
Yes,
I have. It's phenomenal.
Oh,
I'm a massive fan of Witch Hazel and what Colin does. Nice bunch of chaps, great music. Their third record is tip top.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, that was a discovery of 2020 for me. Dry Bones is
yes. When
the song.
when the whole song is great, but especially when our Colin reaches for those really high notes, I'll just like yes. And my other favorite from that record was I Will Not. It's the one with the disco 16ths on the hi-hat.
Yes, I love that one. I love a bit of disco. I love disco beats. It's just
disco beats. Disco beats, yes.
There's one song that sounds a bit like the Silent Hill theme from the movie. One of the later songs in the album. It always like. The intro of that song always reminds me of the creepy, shitty movie.
Someone hum it as a. Oh, I forgot how it goes. I'm tired. The theme.
But yeah, I think we can agree this is a great album.
Yes, this is a great record.
Absolutely fantastic. There's a couple albums that released last year that I was just absolutely blown away by. Traveller, their follow-up album that was released last year was absolutely phenomenal. Oh god, we saw them at Brofest and all that just before COVID hit, and oh my goodness, seeing Termination Shock done live for the first time there. Oh man, I think I wet my pants in joy.
Yeah, we blew
me away.
we got to see Traveller and Riot City back to back. I mean,
Yeah.
they came to Brewfest
And
together.
Haunt. And
And-
Haunt.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, Riot City and Traveller, you know, sort of came there together, pretty much, and you know, we got back-to-back sets of ridiculous heavy metal. I mean, Riot City was a blizzard of Banshee
Yes,
wailing
yes,
for
I
what.
saw him too in March with my brother, and they just got the new vocalist at Riot City,
Yes.
and he was singing, and it was like, yeah, oh, that is a good voice, and then he starts to do the whole,
Oh, when he's reached for
Eric
those highs.
Adams shit.
Yes.
Like, I can sing like the dude from Metal War when he was like 20, so watch out. And we were like that.
Oh, he's
What?
absolutely phenomenal.
I was photographing Brewfest, so all this was happening, you know, pretty much inches from me, and you know, I could barely photograph them because I was constantly sort of shaking the camera in the air.
Yes, and I constantly try to reach those highs when at a gig. It's like, ah!
Oh, I could only dream of being able to do that. I've got a totally different voice type to what likes of these vocalists do. These guys are absolute masters of their craft, and I admire it so much. I admire a good frontman. It's just absolutely fantastic how much a good voice can propel a record in the band forward. A lot of bands really don't pay attention to that, and it's one of the things I try to push myself to be as good as I can, and then better. For every song that we write, for every gig that we do, for everything that we do going forward, I try to push myself to be better than I was last time. Just because I'm inspired so much by seeing so many of these good frontmen and so many of these good bands, and how much a good frontman affects those bands. I want to be able to do that for us.
That's very progressive, mate.
Honestly, it's one of the things you've just got to push yourself forward from. It's not, you just can't be satisfied with how good you are now.
Yeah, you should always try to improve no matter what you do. So, in that spirit, I thank you very much, guys, for taking the time for this interview, and that was really fun. Every one of you has a great taste in music.
Yay.
Yeah, boss, cheers.
Thank you, mate.
Great shirt, great workout shirt.
Hey!
And then
I
just,
think Graham wins the shirt like, class hash!
yeah, it's a new death metal band from I don't know, Germany.
Yeah, it could be like my side project or something.
So it was nice to have you, and I wish you all a good evening.
Yes,
And yeah, bother, cheers!
to see you, nice.
Nice to see you, nice indeed.
Until the next time.
Of course.
Radio, mate.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, I don't know.
Thank you so much.